Madam Deputy Clerk, the time is now 7 p.m.
It is now 7 p.m. and I would like to call the regular Township Council meeting to order. Roll call. Councilwoman Perrone,
Present.
Councilman Anderson,
Present.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Dr. Worthy has an excused absence this evening, and Mayor Whitfield.
Present. Thank you, Deputy Clerk. This evening, we have our prayer by Muhammad Bakar, Assistant Imam at Willingboro Muslim Education Circle.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, the township manager, the clerk. May the Almighty Allah bless all of us. Let us pray. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise and thanks is due to Almighty God, the Lord of the world. Rahman Rahim, the most gracious, the most merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin, Master of the Day of Judgment. Edina Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. Edina Sirat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Sirat al-Ladhina anhamta alayhim, Gayril Makdubi alayhim waladolin. Amen. Madam Mayor, with your permission, I want to ask Brother Nahim to do the call to prayer.
Thank you for inviting us. We like to share this prayer. It's a prayer that is done 5 times a day in the Muslim community worldwide. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Thank you very much, Brother Naim. And also, we pray for the township. We pray for the council members, the mayor, and the entire township. Pray for those who are sick. May the Almighty Allah grant them shifa. And for those who have passed away, may the Almighty Allah have mercy upon them. Subhana rabbika rabbi izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bakar. I want to thank the Willingboro Muslim Education Circle for being with us this evening in this holy month of Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Muslim residents. It is a fairly large community here in Willingboro, and we want to also be in support of everyone that is celebrating the holy month this month. Compliance statement? Oh, flag salute first.
May we please rise for the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Compliance statement.
Compliance statement. Notice was provided in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 to the Burlington County Times, Trenton Times, and Philadelphia Inquirer, stating the date, time, and place, and the agenda to the extent it was known. Additionally, notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first meeting in the month of March, Women's History Month. We do have a proclamation this evening, which I will read at this time. Proclamation, Women's History Month, March 2026. Whereas the month of March is nationally recognized as Women's History Month, a time to honor and celebrate the countless contributions of women to our nation's history, culture, and progress. Whereas the 2026 national theme for Women's History Month is Leading the Charge, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, recognizes and celebrates the leadership of women who are driving sustainable changes in environmental stewardship, economic growth, education, public service, and social justice. And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, serving as pioneers in government, education, business, science, the arts, healthcare, public safety, and community leadership. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical role in shaping public policy, advocating for civil rights, advancing equity and opportunity, and strengthening families and communities throughout the United States and within the township of Willingboro. And whereas the Township of Willingboro proudly recognizes and celebrates the achievement and leadership of women in our community, past, present, and those with who serve with dedication, innovation, and service to enhance the quality of life for all residents and help build a more sustainable and inclusive future. And whereas Women's History Month provides an opportunity to reflect upon the ongoing pursuit of equality and to reaffirm the commitment to empowering future generations of women and girls to achieve their fullest potential. Be it further proclaimed that the Township of Willingboro reaffirms its commitment to supporting equal opportunity, leadership, sustainability, and advancement for women and girls throughout our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Township Council of Willingboro, New Jersey, together with I, Mayor Samantha E. Whitfield, and the residents of Willingboro Township, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2026 as Women's History Month, leading the change, women shaping a sustainable future. So I'd like to say happy Women's History Month to all of the fabulous, wonderful women that we have here in our township. We have at every level of employment, in every department, there are strong, powerful women, and I am proud to say that I am part of a governing body that is made up of primarily women. So happy Women's History Month to my fellow councilwomen, and Deputy Mayor Worthy, who's not here with us this evening. And also, our council meeting this evening we have our Deputy Clerk, Nikisha Scott, and our Deputy Township Manager leading the charge for, for Women's History Month as well. So thank you both for your service as well. All right. Moving right along, we will go to the manager's municipal updates. Deputy Manager? I don't think it's on. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, and members of council and to our community. I have just a few updates for you since our last meeting. I will start with in our police department. We had, yesterday I did have the opportunity to attend their award ceremony. And so I just wanted to share and highlight a few of those. We do have Sergeant Canales, who is traveling to Italy beginning March 14th through the 22nd and participating in our professional leadership development course hosted by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. And the award ceremony yesterday recognized the Officer of Q4 for 2025, also Officer, Detective, and Supervisor of the Year, as well as they awarded the Captain Valenta Award. I just wanted to highlight those names. It was just wonderful to see and hear about the work that's being done by our police department. So for the Officer of Q4 for 2025 was awarded to Officer Gil Quinones for his leadership, dedication, and commitment to both the department and the community. Officer Quinones, approximately 20 years of service with the department, and has a wealth of experience and knowledge strengthening the patrol division and the department as a whole. His commitment to the profession is evident every day through the support of for his fellow officers and his service to Willingboro. Officer of the Year award was given to an officer who has demonstrated exceptional service, professionalism, and dedication over the past year. The award honors an individual who goes above and beyond their daily duties, showcasing qualities such as leadership, bravery, community impact, and excellence in performance. And for 2025, the award was given to Officer Shantae Jackson. She has demonstrated the highest standard of professionalism throughout the past year, and Officer Jackson has exemplified the police department core values of honor, integrity, and commitment to both the department and the community of Willingboro. Detective of the Year award recognizes the detective who has exemplified exceptional investigative skills, extreme dedication to the police profession, and outstanding service in their role. And for 2025, the award was given to Detective Joseph Abadia for demonstrating exceptional investigative skills and professionalism while serving in Street Crimes Unit. The Supervisor of the Year award that was given to, it's usually given to one of the 13 sergeants who has excelled in leadership, dedication, professionalism, and has led by example. And this supervisor also lives up to the core values of honor, integrity, and commitment, and inspiring excellence within the department, enhancing the well-being for the community of Willingboro. And for 2025, that award was given to Sergeant Richard Coop, who has served the department since 2004. And then lastly, the third annual Captain Jerry V. Valenta Marksmanship Award. That award honoring Captain Valenta dedicated 38 years of service to the Willingboro community and has transformed firearms training within the police department. As a dedicated instructor, he elevated the standards, fostering a culture of excellence and continuous improvement, which remains essential to the department's approach today. The legacy is honored through the Captain Gerald V. Valenta Marksmanship Award, celebrating his lasting impact on training, and the award was given this year to Officer Tim Young. So we just want to congratulate all the officers with those recognitions as of yesterday. We appreciate the sacrifice and hard work. In our Public Works Department, we want to thank our hardworking DPW team once again for battling yet another storm. Last week, getting us through another blizzard, clearing off 402 streets that they are responsible for. Unfortunately, we are still experiencing a backup with the salt delivery. So just to give you an update on that, they did place two orders for salt. One order was 275 tons with Morton salt, and just yesterday, 25 tons of the salt was delivered. So we're still waiting for the additional 250 tons. And then we also placed another order on February 26th, and that order just arrived at the docks today. So just to keep you all and the community, I know you hear but we're really experiencing a shortage in the area. So hopefully this was the last storm and Public Works won't have to clear those streets again. They're also still busy with cleanup. We experienced 200, I'm sorry, not 200, 22 trees fell during the storm, and they are out doing cleanup of that this week using 2 of the chippers. And weather permitting, they will begin doing pothole cleanup beginning at the end of the week. Residents, I just wanted to also remind the residents that if you see construction going on in Mill Creek Park, that is, again, the charging stations are being installed for the electrical vehicles. Our recreation department has applied for and received a $15,000 AARP grant, and the funds for that grant will be utilized to upgrade technology in the senior center. We also wanted to remind our residents that there are several new programs starting March, April, and May, and our residents are encouraged to participate. Just to name a couple, we have the drone program and the Mentality Brunch series, which is a 3-part series on Saturday. And so please engage yourself in all of the, there's a lot going on in recreation, some new exciting things. And I'll have Ms. Jackson come up later just to talk about some of the happenings with our programs. In our fire department, they are working through just a couple of vehicle issues. 2 of the engines are currently out of service for repair. Engine 1612 we should have back by the end of the week. And the other engine, 1613, we're waiting on the insurance company to do an evaluation from some damage from an accident. And then we have 1 ambulance that is out for service for a minor accident. And they're also completing, they did do some and are continuing to do interviews for per diem EMTs, and they're backfilling 2 positions for 2 EMTs who moved from full-time to per diem, and some firefighter vacancies. So Willingboro, if you know anyone who would be interested in filling a EMT position, please encourage them to apply. And then in our communications department, residents, some of you may have already received your 2026 calendar. If not, it is on the way. I believe there are a few copies here in the carousel at the municipal building, but we have made that available. And with that, I will call up Ms. Jackson, and she will share the events to come.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy, no Deputy Mayor today, Council, and all those assembled. Happy March and happy Women's History Month. And thank you, Ms. Carmichael, for sharing that, yes, the calendar is now available and a copy has been sent to all residents' home. It has not arrived yet. It's on its way, but we do have copies here. I put some in the back. We have them at the municipal complex as well as at the Kennedy Center. But we do want to note that the calendars run through the end of February. So people get all anxious the beginning of January, but they run all the way through the end of February. So hopefully people note that. We do want to thank everyone who supported our Black History Month programs last month. We really do appreciate the support. And then as we embrace the month of March, on Sunday, March 8th, the Willingboro Public Library will be hosting Willingboro Women Give, which will feature our very own Councilwoman Rebecca Perrone. That event will be held on March 8th at 2 p.m. at the library. And due to the early arrival of Easter and unpredictable outdoor weather, we will be hosting an inside event this year, Springtime Lunch with the Easter Bunny, which will be on Sunday, March 22nd. Parents and guardians of children aged 12 and under are invited to join us for an afternoon of Easter crafts and games, lunch with the bunny, and photo ops. And that cost is $20 per person, regardless of the number, and registration is now open. And then on Sunday, March 29th, we will have a Phenomenal Women's Award celebration. We're excited to share that we have identified 6 wonderful women as just honorees, and we will celebrate them on Sunday, March 29th at 3 p.m. And we're looking forward to a wonderful afternoon in celebration of these women. As noted, the Willingboro Rec Department has several classes, programs, and sports activities that are available to the entire community. The Brotherhood Brunch Series will kick off on April 4th, and there's a financial literacy service beginning on April 9th. All information is available at willingboroughrec.com. But we do want to bring to your attention that information and updates will be forthcoming as we begin to transition willingboroughrec.com to a new platform, Civic Rec. And this will align with the township's new website, which will be powered by Civic Plus. So more information will be forthcoming, but we do encourage you to stay informed through signing up for the weekly, following our social media, and downloading our app to make sure that everyone is informed and up to date. And lastly, we do want to remind you to spring forward this weekend as we move towards more hours of daylight and hopefully warm temperatures. So that's it for me, unless you have any questions. Yes.
Any questions for Ms. Jackson? Councilwoman Pearl.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Sorry, I know we're gonna have a new app. The current app, is that something we're gonna have to undownload, or is it gonna be a conversion, like a push?
So the app, I believe, will be able to stay intact, right? Are we gonna have to change? We don't have a new app. We just have a new website.
A new website?
Yes,
Okay,
so we're gonna be able to transition that, the app will be able to move with us.
Okay, so it just won't be called Willingboro Connect anymore?
The app will remain the same.
What did you say about that part then? Maybe I missed.
The Willingboro Rec
Willingboro
will be
Rec
Civic Rec. Yes,
Oh,
that
okay,
will
okay.
be transitioning.
The app will be transitioning for that.
Willingboro Rec will be transitioning to Civic Rec.
Okay,
Okay?
all right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Carmichael?
Yes, I just want to make a quick correction to what I said. Speaking about recreation, they applied for the grant on Friday. It hasn't been awarded yet, so it's in the works. All right, so ordinances and resolutions for you tonight for presentation and your approval. We have for final adoption ordinance number 2026-4, ordinance of the Township of Willingboro amending Chapter 150, Section 8, entitled Recreation Department Fees, and establishing Chapter 150, Section 20, entitled Facility Uses Fees of the Code of the Township of Willingboro. And this is final adoption, just separating the recreation fees to clearly distinguish building rental costs from program participation costs, ensuring transparency and accurate budgeting. Fees are listed as ranges to allow flexibility based on program type, duration, and cost, enabling the township to adjust fees responsibly without requiring ordinance amendments. Ordinance number 2026-5 is an ordinance amending Chapter 199 Housing Standards, adding an article entitled Uniform Fire Safety Inspections, designating the Township of Willingboro as the local enforcing agency for the uniform fire safety inspections related to the certification on smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, fire extinguishers, and secondary power sources. It is recommended for council to approve the ordinance required by state law for the inspections. And then ordinance number, the next two are from the clerk's office.
Yes, we have ordinance.
Nice and loud. We need to hear you guys. But
Yes, we have ordinance dash 06, an ordinance of the Township of Willingboro repealing and replacing Chapter 79, Article 1, Affordable Housing and Development Fees, and 07, an ordinance for the Township of Willingboro repealing and replacing Chapter 79, Article 2 of the Affordable Housing Obligations. So these are for final adoption tonight. So going back to ordinance 2604, we'd like to open this up for public hearing. And anyone wishing to come forward to comment on the ordinance only, please do so. Okay, seeing none, we'd like to close the public comment for ordinance 26-04. Can I get a motion to finally adopt ordinance 26-4? So moved.
Second.
moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Perron. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh. Yes. Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Okay, the next ordinance we have is 26-5. I'd like to open public hearing for ordinance amending Chapter 199 Housing Standards, adding article entitled Uniform Fire Safety Inspection, and designating the Township of Willenboro as the local enforcing agency for uniform fire safety inspection related to the certification of smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, fire extinguishers, and secondary power sources. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance could please come so now. Seeing none, I'd like to close the public comment. And can I get a motion to finally adopt ordinance 26-5?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh. Yes. Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Next ordinance I would like to open up for public hearing is ordinance 26-6. Anyone wishing to come speak or comment on this ordinance, please do so. Seeing none, I'd like to close public comment on the ordinance of the Township of Willenboro repealing and replacing Chapter 79, Article 1, Affordable Housing Development Fees. Can I get a motion to finally adopt ordinance 26-6?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh. Yes. Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Okay, and the last ordinance for public hearing I'd like to open up for public hearing is 2607, an ordinance of Township of Willenboro repealing and replacing Chapter 79, Article 2, Affordable Housing Obligation. Anyone wishing to come forward to comment on this ordinance, please do so. Seeing none, I'd like to close the public portion. Can I get a motion to finally adopt 26-7?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh. Yes. Mayor Whitfield.
Yes. Thank you, Deputy Clerk. Ms. Carmichael, will you continue with the explanation of the resolution?
Yes. Resolution 2026-56 is the authorization approval for, voucher for payments. It's our bills list. Resolution 2026-57 is a resolution accepting the tax collector's 2025 annual report. And at this time, I will have Ms. Arnold come forward.
Hello,
Good evening.
good evening. Okay, so this report is the tax collector's annual statement of receipts. This is everything the tax office collected in 2025 based off the tax levy listed on page 2. The tax ratables are based off of land and improvements, which give you the assessed value. The assessed value is what the tax assessor assesses and is collected to come up with our tax rate. So the chart below are the taxable properties. So for example, we have 10,691 residential properties, and the assessed value is 1,725,130,800. This assessed value is like the total at the bottom. That is our the ratables that we use to come up with our tax rate. So we take the tax ratables, and we divide it by our rate, And then, I mean, well, we multiply it by the rate and then we divide it by 100. And that is what we come up with for each property. And the different types of properties are the residential, the vacant land, commercial, industrials, apartment, the farms, and the public utilities. Underneath that, we have the exempt properties. These properties we do not collect any taxes or anything for these properties. And the exempt properties are the public schools, other schools. Other schools would be like a charter school. We have public properties, charitable, cemeteries, miscellaneous. And those properties are all the ones that are exempt, that do not pay any taxes. And underneath, the last one is the taxpayers receiving deductions. And we have senior citizen, disabled person, surviving spouse, veteran, and widow of a vet. If we go to page 4, the tax collection percentages, for 2025, we actually, it's lower than what we normally, it usually goes up. But we did collect, for the delinquent taxes, we collected more in the prior years. Page 5 is our payment methods for the taxpayers, the payments we collect online. So I have a breakdown of 2025 and 2024. So we collect credit card payments, we collect, you can pay with their checking account or debit cards. And these are all broken down, and you can see the totals that we collect online. And we collected, for 2025, we collected 73% based off the tax levy. And it's more than what we collected last year. We only collected 55% online. And then on page 6, we have, I put 2025 and 2024, the tax rates, and this shows you like the difference that, that it went up, because our rate did go up from 2024 to 2025. And then underneath the ratables for the abstract ratables for the surrounding towns, this just shows you their rates compared to ours as well. And then on page 7, I have the largest taxpayers in Willingboro. On page 8, my tax sale that I had last year. These are some certificates that were collected. FIG is actually one of our biggest taxpayers in Willingboro, so they had the top 3. And this shows you like the amounts that were collected and the premiums that were collected on each certificate. I only gave an example of 5 different certificates that were sold. Page 9 is all the municipal liens that Willingboro holds that were struck off to the township. The oldest one is from 93, and then we have some new ones that were put on from last year. We have 6 new ones that were added on. And then page 10 is just a breakdown of our department, each employee that is in our department.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold.
You're welcome.
And we'll hold questions for the time being until we are done with the discussion.
Okay, no problem.
Ms. Carmichael?
And resolution number 2026-58 is a resolution authorizing an increase of contract for plumbing services for Alaska. The 2025 is an increase of $33,117.08, which increases the 2025 aggregate from $40,000 to $73,117. $17.08 to close out all of the unpaid bills for 2025, and it represents mainly the calls for pool repairs that we had and some plumbing services around the township. Resolution 2026-59, authorizing the extension of contract for third-party billing services for emergency medical services. We are requesting council to approve an extension of the existing contract for an additional 24 months commencing March 1st of this year, ending February 28th of 2028 to Farnsworth and Semp Hempler LLC for the anticipated contract value in the amount of $76,000, which is $38,000 for year 3 and $38,000 for year 4, which will increase base contract value from $76,000 to $152,000. Resolution number 2026-60 is a resolution authorizing the Second Amendment to the agreement with Virtua Health for the provision of advanced life support services. We're asking for the approval for this resolution for the provision of advanced life support services transportation. The purpose of this agreement is only for billing purposes that deal with Medicare and Medicaid patients, and all other insurances are billed by both basic life support and advanced life support agencies. The Second Amendment to the transport agreement between the township and Virtua Health will be for an additional 1-year period effective February 1st of this year and terminates January 31st, 2027. Virtua Health agrees to pay Willingboro the sum of $457.55 for each patient covered by Medicare and $200 for each patient covered by Medicaid, contingent on the Medicare/Medicaid allowable rates. Resolution 2026-60 is a resolution authorizing the Second Amendment to agreement, 61, I'm sorry. Resolution 61, authorizing the Township of Willingboro to establish an anticipated contract value amount for Land Associates for the acquisition of architectural and engineering permit drawings for the interior authorizations for the Willingboro Food Pantry. This is also for design only. It's not for the construction of the food pantry. So we'd asked for a proposal. The engineers were asking that we actually get the architectural designs because the work had been done. It'd been quite a bit of time had passed, and a lot of the work was incomplete, and so they were not comfortable moving forward unless we got the actual architectural designs. And so this was awarded to Land, who has previous experience with restaurant development, so the township was comfortable with that proposal. Resolution 2026-62 is for authorizing emergency contract to abate for Mark's Lawn Service to abate unaddressed snow removal on properties. We received their invoice, so that's to cover $50,525 for that service. And then lastly, resolution 2026-63, authorizing the funding of the Willingboro Township share of the MAX contract, which is solid waste removal for apartments and condos within the township. This is year 5 of the contract. So the not to exceed for this year will be $135,000. And also just to mention that the price is adjusted for the township based on township usage. And they go out to bid for this every 5 years. All right, and resolution 2026-64 is from the clerk's office. I will pass it to Ms. Scott.
64 is a resolution granting social affairs permit and authorizing the township clerk to certify the same. Application is for the event date of March 14th, 26. Resolution 65 is identical with the event date of April 18th. And the third one is for May 9th, 26. So these resolutions are 3 resolutions granting 3 social affairs permits for Diamond Dogs and authorizing the clerk to certify the applications. The permits are as follows. March 14th is for a spring social and comedy show from the hours of 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. April 18th is for a member and guest mixer from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. And May 9th is for honoree celebration from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Chief Bucks of the Willenboro Police Department did review all three social affairs permit and have endorsed with the condition that the applicant complies with all local ordinance and New Jersey laws. We have Resolution 67, which is a resolution designating Willenboro AHJV LLC as the developer for redevelopment of a portion of certain property identified as Block 5.02, Lots 8, Route 130, 9, which is Route 130, and 10, 4292 Route 130, and 17, 4282 Route 130, and authorizing the execution of the development agreement in connection therewith. Resolution 68 is a resolution of the Township Council of, Resolution of Township Council of Willenboro adopting an affordability assistance manual. And then 69 is a resolution of the Township Council of Willenboro adopting an affirmative marketing plan. Those ones should be, they're not included on your package, they were on the side. There should be a packet of those. And that concludes the resolutions.
All right, thank you. At this time, we will open up for our first public comment, our first public comment of the evening. This public comment is for agenda items only. If you would like to speak on any of the agenda items that were just explained, please come forward. You will have 2 minutes. There are public comment cards in the back, should you want to speak. And if we do not have an answer for you, we'll be able to contact you at a later date. You can give that contact card either to our clerk sitting on the front row or our deputy clerk. You will have 2 minutes. This public comment is for agenda items only. Public comment is now open. All right, seeing none. I will ask council, seeing none, public comment is now closed. Seeing none, I will ask council if there are any items that you would like to pull from a consent agenda. Okay. All right, I did have a few, I did want to pull 57, which is the tax collector's report. I also wanted to pull the 59, which is the third-party billing services. And then also I wanted to pull, not 59, 60, pardon me. So 57, 60, and 60. You said which one?
You said 57.
Yes, 57, 60, and 63. Okay. And 63. All right, we'll pull those three. So I'd like to ask for a motion for a consent agenda for resolutions 2026-56, 2026-58, and 59, 2026-61, 2026-63 through 69. We pulled 63, so it's 62. So 61, 62. Circle the long one. And then 64 through 69. So again, that's 56, 58, 59, 61, 62, and 64 through 69.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Roll call.
Can I get a motion to approve the same?
So moved.
Sorry.
Oh, we have to roll call on that.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Anderson. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
and Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Now may I get a motion to approve the same?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Perone.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
and Mayor Whitfield.
Yes. Madam Deputy Clerk, can we go to Resolution 2026-57?
Yes. Can I get a motion to discuss Resolution 26-57, resolution accepting tax collectors to 25 annual report? Can I
So,
get,
so moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. Discussion. Madam Deputy Manager, can we have Ms. Arnold please come back up?
Sure, Ms. Arnold, would you come up?
Good evening, Ms. Arnold.
Good evening.
I had a couple questions, but I want to put it out to council if there were any questions on the tax assessor's report or tax collector's report at this time. No? All right. So a couple questions that I had. One, I know a hot topic throughout town is the exempt properties. There's a miscellaneous category. Can you explain what properties are included in that miscellaneous category for the exempt properties?
Miscellaneous are, no, 'cause that's the chair. Miscellaneous, they're, what? um, mm. Schools, other schools, other- charitables are, nonprofit. Miscellaneous, yes, they are the 100% disabled veterans.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a mind block, I'm sorry. Yes, there's 409, 100% disabled veterans.
Okay, so that's all disabled veterans.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, we know this is a, veteran community, or it was built as a veteran community, so that makes a little more sense there.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just off the question you just asked. But below we have the veterans, a figure for the veterans. It says taxpayers receiving deductions. So is there like a different category for the veterans?
yes, the 100%, they're 100% disabled veterans, but these are people that just, served in the service, but they just qualify for the 250. They're not disabled.
Okay, so they get a different rate. It's like a different rate of the
Yes, they only get
deduction.
$250 off.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Arnold, for that.
You're welcome.
I also just noticed a typo in your report with the credit card collection portion.
Okay,
You have 0.073%.
okay.
And then in your description, you said 73%.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it 73%?
Is 0.073.
Oh, okay. So that's a really small amount of residents pay online,
No, this
or the
is,
majority of residents.
this is
pay online?
based off, this is 70.073% based off the levy. So, but do you see, like, for the visa, we collected $886,000. But this is just the 886, 124, the 285, 555, the 29,000, and the 208, 216. That's altogether, the 0.073 represents the portion based off the tax levy.
Okay.
So that is a lot, because the total for the year we collected 1,408,000.
1,408,000 or 1,408,000 over credit card statements?
One, one,
Million.
1,408,981.
Okay. But as a portion of the total tax levy, it's only 0.073%.
Correct.
All right, and then I did just want to call out for the residents on page 6 of the report, the tax rate. So although the overall tax rate for Willingboro residents did increase from 4.317 to 4.405, the municipal portion of the tax rate did decrease. So our municipal portion that we as a body approve, the portion of our tax that comes to the municipality, it was 1.749 in 2024 and 1.745 in 2025. So there was a slight decrease in our municipal tax rate, but there were increases at the school level. There were increases to the open space tax. There were increases to the library tax, and also to the county tax. So those things contributed to the increased tax rate, not the decisions of this council. And I just wanted to make that clear to the public that we are doing our best to serve you and really keep our municipal spending to what is necessary for us to operate. And I think that was all I had. Any other questions from council? All right, seeing none, thank you, Ms. Arno.
You're welcome.
Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have Resolution 2660 for discussion. Can I get a motion to discuss?
So
Resolution authorizing the Second Amendment to Agreement with Virtual Health and for the provisions of advanced life support services transportation.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion. Oh, McIntosh. Oh, sorry. Madam Deputy Manager, I did want to just provide a little more clarity on this. Can Chief Burnett?
Yep, Chief Burnett, will you come up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, do you want clarity on the resolution itself?
Mhm.
Okay. So this resolution is, in Burlington County, Virtual Health is the advanced life support system for Burlington County. We only do basic life support. So whenever the medics ride on the ambulance with us, only one entity can bill the Medicaid and Medicare entity. So we allow the ALS to bill because they do higher service than we do. And then they will pay us more for the transport. And that's what this resolution is about.
Okay. Yeah, and I know this resolution also, we serve not just Willingboro, but other.
No. So this right here is only when we transport with a paramedic, a Medicaid or Medicare patient to the hospital. And it's only for those two entities that only one entity between the paramedics or us can bill the insurance company.
Mhm.
Every other incident or every other call, we can bill. Both entities I can bill.
Okay.
Only for Medicaid and Medicare, only one entity can. They do a higher medical care than we do because they give drugs and everything else that we are not allowed to do. So we allowed them to bill, and then they pay us a flat fee, right? And that happens with not just our agency, every other agency in Broward County does the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
That's helpful.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, any other questions on that? Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh.
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Okay, our next resolution for discussion is Resolution 2663. Can I get a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. Discussion?
Madam Deputy Manager, can we just get a little bit more clarification? I know we approve this every year, but I just want clarification.
Sure. So it's a joint purchasing agreement and it designates Maple Shade Township as the lead agency. So our Public Works Department does not do pickup at apartment complexes and condominiums in town. And so we have a shared services agreement, and the township is billed based on tonnage or usage. And so it could fluctuate depending on the weight of what is picked up. And so but it's the county that goes out to bid. I don't know if Mr. Harris, if there's anything that I need to add or take away from what I'm saying, but the county does go out to bid once every 5 years for the service for a service provider for that service.
So do we pay or we pay into trash removal from apartment? Our apartment.
So we pay as part of the collection program. Willenboro has a portion and the resolution is approving the portion that the township would pay for pickup within our apartment complexes in the town.
Any other discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes. And that is all the resolutions for this evening. Madam Clerk, the treasurer's report.
Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report for February 24th, 2026?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Mayor Whitfield. Any discussion on the treasurer's report? Seeing
Council-
none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
We don't have any minutes for approval at this time.
Okay. And Madam Clerk, your update.
So it's just a reminder that petitions are due by March 23rd by 4 p.m., but we encourage everyone to submit early. Important election dates to remember. The general election is on Tuesday, June 2nd. Voter registration deadline is May 12th. Must be postmarked by this day. There was a notice to let you know to try to get it into the post office a little earlier, just in case it's not postmarked on the day that you're actually submitting it. Early voting will be from May 26th to May. For the early voting, it says May 26th to May 21st. So, deadline to apply by vote by mail, ballot through the mail is May 26th. Deadline to apply for vote by mail in person is June 1st by 3 p.m. And that is all for our election dates at this time. New polling locations have been confirmed and more information will be circulated within the next 2 weeks. This information will be provided to the schools, the library, JFK, and available at the township building. And we are working with communications to put all this information out on social media. The final disclosure roster is open and the clerk will be updating. And once that's updated, we will notify anyone that needs to submit. And just a reminder that the deadline is April 30th and there is a penalty for noncompliance. And just to give you a little update on our solicitors, we do have 10 pending applications, but so far for 2026, we have none approved at this time. And at this time, that's all I have for clerk's updates.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any questions for our clerk's office? So I did just want to briefly discuss the polling place change. I know there's been some discussion in the community, and I wanted to shed a little light on the circumstances surrounding the polling place relocations. So as many of you know, the township and residents of the township approved a bond referendum for the schools to refurbish many of our school buildings, including the roofs and some of the interior. This poses a little bit of a challenge, especially for us during voting season, because some of the schools may be under heavy construction during that time and not usable by the public. We did run into, they did start relocating the students, as you all know. There's been some shuffling of schools around, and some of the schools are closed to students currently as they're attending other schools. During our last election, we were a little fearful as we were going in that some of the construction had already started and residents would not be able to enter the buildings to vote. That was not the case. We were able to proceed as normal and everything was fine. But with the snow clearing, some of that construction will be starting and some of the buildings may not be usable or safe to enter for the general public. So instead of waiting until the last minute to find out what buildings will be usable, we will be moving those school buildings, the use of the school buildings for elections to JFK. Many of them are relocating to JFK. And then I think some of them are at the library. But many of them will be at JFK and the library just to have a stable location for these important elections that are coming up in June and November. So I hope that sheds some light on the issue for the community. We really just wanted to take a proactive approach instead of a reactive approach if we find out at the last minute that the buildings are unusable. All right. Any other questions or comments for the clerk?
Just one note, the firehouse will be staying the same. And then those that were at the JFK banquet hall, those are staying the same as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Deputy Clerk. We will move along to unfinished business. We have the LRC remodel. Madam Deputy Manager, would you be able to talk about that a little bit?
I don't have a lot of commentary on it. I know a lot of, there were some changes received in from Alimo, so we're asking the council to just review and give your approval or recommended changes that you would like to see for the updates that are made for the drawings.
Okay. All right, thank you. So you have on your dais some renderings or some plans for the LRC remodel and the senior center expansion. I know there's been some discussion about the grant money that was given for the senior center. This is incorporated in that, and we did receive new drawings. So please review those over the next couple weeks. And if you have any feedback, we will discuss them at the next meeting. Any questions on that? All right. I think some of it was in some of the layout of the LRC. We had spoken about inclusion of like a sensory room and different things like that. So all of that is laid out in the changes, as well as that senior center hallway expansion. It's very small. It's very small. Do you know if we received a larger copy, or did we just receive the PDF version?
I believe in an email.
Okay.
Yes.
So you may be able to, yeah, to enlarge it on the PDF version that was sent. This is a little tough to read because the text is very, very small. Okay. And then lastly, for boards and commissions, I did want to, I had a discussion with Deputy Mayor Worthy about the WMUA, and Councilwoman McIntosh, with your background and interest in the WMUA fluoride issue. She is willing to, or we think it would be best if you would serve as the liaison for the WMUA at this time. Would you accept that
Yes.
liaison position?
Then I would like to be relieved of this
Alliance? Okay. All right. So Councilwoman McIntosh will come off as a municipal alliance liaison and will be inserted as the liaison for the WMUA. And we'll just do a flip flop. Councilwoman Worthy or Deputy Mayor Worthy will come off of the MUA and go on to the Municipal Alliance. All right. Okay. And then also we had some discussion about the Parades and Events Committee at the last meeting. Councilwoman Perone, I did want to just address a little bit of that. At this time, I am still reviewing with Mr. Halt the SOP document that was brought up, but I did want to talk a little bit about the resolution surrounding the creation of the Parades and Events Committee. I know we had discussed the charge of the Parade and Events Committee at the last meeting, but here, and I did review the resolution, and in the third whereas, it did say the committee will act as an advisory board to the Township Council to plan, assist, and support parades and similar events. And then it further goes on and says, whereas all recommendations made to council must be made by a majority of the members of the committee, and then the council may develop additional guidelines or bylaws by which the committee will govern itself. So it's similar to all of our boards and commissions. It is an advisory committee, and we do approve the events. I understand there's some clarification needed on how the committees do work with our township employees to get things done and to execute some of the events that were approved. So we'll continue to work on that.
Thank you. Can I respond?
Sure.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I was referring to, because the conflict issue is that, first of all, the recommendation, which I had recommended, the SOP, standard operating procedure, was to be established and created for that resolution, in making sure that we are also abiding by our code, chapter 12, which is for all boards and commissions, because that resolution coincides with that. The SOP was written poorly, just leave it that way. However, the issue that the committee is having is that, not that we don't want to notify, I'm the liaison, so my job is meet with the committee, they come up with ideas for the township. We have a budget that the council approves.
Mhm.
I let them know this is the budget for the year. We come up with a yearly plan of these are the events we'd like to put on. I then email it to the council. If the council has any objections or concerns about the events at that time at the council meeting or whatever, they can let me know. I'll bring it back and so forth. If there are no objections or no issues with the events, then the committee moves forward with planning the event, such as the parade. So making phone calls, emails, et cetera, everything that goes behind that. However, the committee cannot direct, for example, the police department to stand posts on a parade. Neither can I. That goes through the township manager. And that's just one example. So now the township manager is waiting for me to get approval from the council to tell him we need the police to be at the parade. So therefore, there's bottlenecking and confusion. So, and like I said, that's one example. The other issue is spending the money. I don't just contact the finance office and say I'd like a check for $10,000. This is an example. There needs to be a process on how that's done with the parade and events committee and what they're doing as far as, you know, putting on these events. So it was never that the parade committee does not want to notify the council of what events we're doing. It's the processing of communication between the township liaison, which is me in this case, the committee of members, and the township employees. Those are the issues. And also advertisements. So this is, you know, spending money, lawn signs, things like that. Issues with the township manager and how to communicate with the staff. So this way that's a little bit. Hope that's more helpful to as far as when we get the SOP better written, that it helps with that process and communication. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and I think there is some clarity in the SOP with how to request the funds. It does say to use the clerk's office to make the request, and to that the vendors will have to go through the traditional RFP process. So that does take time to go through those vendors in that way, if they're at a certain threshold. And then further, for the working with the administration, I think part of it is when the slate of events comes forward, you know, with dates and, you know, how much of the budget is going to be expended for each one or what have you. When that is approved by the council, then that's basically the council saying, yes, we approve all these events. That is the okay to work with the administration. But I'll make sure that that's clear in the SOP.
Right. And then while you're doing that, just also, can you take a look with Jason as well? And if I can be in a conversation as well, that would be helpful. But we do appoint leadership in this committee. So we have a chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. So those individuals that are voted by the members, which I'm not a voting member, as far as the chair, that's, you know, a leadership position. So why wouldn't the chair be able to communicate with somebody in the township? So I think that too needs to be, if there's a way we can have that spelled out, because there's issue with me communicating with the staff, and then there's issues, and it's not clear if the chair can communicate or email Mr. Harris about, I don't know, balloons or something, you know, something so simple, because we're really talking about an event of what we appointed the people there, we gave them the budget, and I'm bringing back any issues or events that we'd like to do, right? So just that's another pointer that I think we need to be clarified for that committee.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Anderson.
just want to also mention, I do believe the township has taken over Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and Juneteenth. At one point, I do know the committee was in charge, but I think since the last event, I believe the township has now taken ownership of those events. So we just want to make sure those are noted.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to the nature and the intent of this committee, is that the Parade and Events Committee is supposed to work with the Township Council to plan, assist, and support parades and events and similar events. So even our calendar of events, you know, the Parade and Events Committee should be working with the Special Events Coordinator to, you know, share ideas and help plan any of those events, whether it be Veterans Day, whether it be any of those events, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, any of the events that we do, Black History Month event, any of those, you know, should be, you know, you can work with the township in planning the events that are sponsored by the municipality to ensure that those events are meeting the residents' needs, and really cater to what our town would like to see at those things.
Yeah, I mean, we're all saying that now, but it's a whole nother story once I get into an email with Mr. Harris, and he knows that. Because, and that's why I said I do not want to meet with him, because we've met till I'm blue in the face. And I don't have the patience for, after, this all sounds great, because we're all saying the same thing, we're speaking the same language. And then tomorrow, there's an email, there's confusion on the phone, somebody missed what we said today. I just want an SOP so I can say, here it is, Mr. Harris. This is what we talked about. Okay. I just think that would be very helpful. And we're talking about something that's so simple. Yes, communication with the staff, for the community. It's the same community. We all want the same objective, right? We all want the same goal. And we just don't want to have confusion and frustration along the process. And I think that would help with Mr. Harris, myself, the committee, to that SOP. And like I said, if it's a phone call, when you with with Jason, that would be helpful if I could be a part of that communication. This way we get it clear. This way it's not so many different variations of the SOP, and him as being the attorney, which I do respect, his position as our solicitor. I feel that he will be guiding us in the correct way, so that we're doing everything properly. That's all.
Okay. All right. I think that's all on that. Yeah, something else.
Nothing
on
else
that
on the
issue.
new unfinished business. Not
Okay.
related.
Councilwoman Pearl.
With regards to the Performing Arts Theater, do we have a new start date? Somebody asked, what is our opening day? Did that change? Do we have any updates on that?
Madam Deputy Manager.
I don't have an update on there being a change from there.
So what's the opening date? When's our,
I believe is it
oh, I know it changed a few times. What month? It's still April?
April 9th.
Okay.
Okay, so April 9th is the grand opening of the Performing Arts Center.
And are we doing anything grand to open it? Like, is somebody working on that? I didn't see any literature unless I missed it.
Mhm.
Atlantic Star, this,
Mhm.
that's all. That was all I had.
Okay. All right. Anything else for unfinished business? Seeing none, any new business? All right. Seeing none, we are at the public comment portion of our meeting. This is our general public comment. You'll have 4 minutes to discuss any items, any additional items, generally involving Willingboro Township. This public comment, you'll have 4 minutes. The comment cards are in the back should we need to contact you at a later date to get you any answers. Public comment is now open. Madam Deputy Clerk, thank you, Mrs. Thurston.
Good afternoon, Board.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening. It is, I'm still fogged. I was just thinking about how I'm going to approach my comment today. First of all, I want to say, I understand I'm speaking about the snow removal for the past 2 storms that we had. The township addressed it, but I think it could have been addressed a little much better for safety reasons, for convenience, as well as for the people on the secondary streets. It seems there's a priority of what gets addressed and what street gets addressed during snow removal and everything like that. I understand the main roads need to be open for traffic and everything else. But I also think that we need to understand that we need to address the secondary streets. The first snowstorm, they plowed, but they were like coming off of the main highway going onto the secondary streets. There was a lot of snow that was not pushed because it couldn't be pushed onto the curb, I understand, because of the fact that they didn't know where it started at or where it ended at. So it was left, say I'm coming off of Veteran Parkway to go on to Holbrook Lane. Well, there was so much snow that I had to make a wide turn, get around that corner. as I'm going to make this turn going around this corner, there's a truck coming up there to go to Fletcher Parkway. Both of us had to stop because one of us had to give. So my problem is safety. Do we have what kind of plan do we have for this? I understand we're not used to this kind of snow drop that we got these last two storms. Do we have a plan in place? I mean, we should have got one from the first snowstorm of how to handle it. I didn't see anything different. Matter of fact, I think the second snowstorm, it was worse. I went to California to get away from it, and I came back, and I ran into the second snowstorm. And that was, to me, was handled even worse. I'm not gonna say worse. It wasn't handled as well as it should have been, because my street really didn't even get plowed. It got grazed over because it was still snow and ice on my street after the plow went through. My question is, for that amount of snow that came, we should have had something in place, or we should think about putting something in place when we get that kind of storm. I know we have Public Works, they have dump trucks, and we have bobcats and all those kind of things that we can try to remove that access, especially around the corners and stuff like that, on the main roads and the secondary streets, that we can put that basket, that stuff in dump trucks and take it and deliver it somewhere to make it a little more safer than rather leaving it the way it was, where, like I say, you had a lot of snow that was out in the street and people had to make wide turns. Secondary streets, and particularly my street, I'm 22 Holden Lane, Willingboro. It was only enough for one car. So in other words, if two cars was coming, one coming going, one of them had to stop and wait for the other one to go. Why should we have to do that? It's supposed to be a 2-lane street, and regardless of what the conditions is, if we get snow or whatever it is, it needs to be made that way, just like you do it on the highway, on the main streets. Secondary streets need to get the same attention, or I'm gonna say at least a little better attention, not looked at as, okay, I'm gonna go in there and do one row and plow it, and it's over. How about we get it open so everybody can move, and then we come back and address the additional safety issues. Like I said, having too much, the snow not really being pushed all the way out so that both cars, both way lanes can go by without being impeded by the other. That should also be a part of our plan, because, hey, I'm paying taxes. So why should not be treated the same way the main roads is treated? Why should not my street be treated the same way that the main roads are treated? Because you want to make sure that traffic gets through. And I rode around the streets where schools were, they were clear.
Mr. Thurston,
Yes.
apologize. That's your time.
That's my time?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Thurston. Any other public comment?
Good afternoon
Good evening.
to the mayor.
Can I have your
Yep.
name, please?
I will. To the mayor, deputy mayor, all township council, township manager. My name is Ethel Williams. I'm a resident of Willingboro for 37 years. The reason I'm here is because on last week, I was driving on JFK Way. When I was passing the firehouse, that old building, the bank that was on the corner, there was a sound there. And the sound that was on that building is a dispensable sound. I said to myself, oh, don't tell me this is a smoke shop. Coming in my neighborhood. Where this smoke shop is at, Hawthorne Elementary School, right down the street. Memorial Junior High, right around the corner from the elementary school. The Senior Citizen Building, right up the street from it. Where I live is right next to it. When I return home, I call a few neighbors, and they was very disturbed about it. I'm here to ask you, I'm being very brief, that you can do something about it. I will appreciate it. Other seniors, resident, they are very disturbed about it. Willenboro is a very beautiful, lovely community. I do believe that this will bring a lot of traffic. So I'm asking you, please, do something about it. I called twice to speak to the township manager. So far, I haven't received a response. So I'm asking you, please, can you do something about it? There's a sign up already. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ethel. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, public comment is now closed. First, to discuss the comments from Mr. Thurston. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Once again, the plowing, as you know, it's been a challenge with the heavy snowstorms that we have been having. I did hear some positive news from some residents from the second snowstorm that things had improved, or the operation had improved after the first snowstorm. But I do understand your concern about those turns and kind of the width of the streets. I know part of it is in part due to people not moving cars off of the street. It impedes the plows from getting that curb to curb view that we want to see. But Deputy Manager, do you have anything to add for that?
No, not anything I'd add. I would like the community to know that the police department did actively hand out distribute violations for people who violated the vehicle ordinance for snow removal. So you notice cars are still on the street. Some people just don't move the cars for a number of reasons. So the police department was actively issuing the violations on that, and we do know in discussion with our public works department that they were actively out there. You know, the 402 streets in Willenboro, and they were doing more than one pass, and then after the storm doing another pass. And I know, Mr. Thurston, you did mention the ice was an issue, and I mentioned earlier we just haven't gotten the ice from the county, unfortunately, until all the storms were over, and they were feverishly looking for ice everywhere, and we just couldn't. Salt. I'm sorry, we're not looking for ice. For salt. I'm sorry. Thank you. But Public Works has been in discussion with Mr. Harris mainly, and we do have, that the plan is in motion and they work the plan, but sometimes it falls faster than you can scoop it up. Then you have to do a second, third, fourth pass. And then after the storm, for the week after, they went back for a few days to remediate even some of the corners we know was an issue. And the schools sometimes may get the first or additional focus, because there was the reason that we were doing the violations with inspections and had the emergency snow removal is because the children were walking in the street, because the sidewalks were not being cleared, and so that was a safety issue that they wanted to address immediately.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Manager.
Madam Mayor, also,
Councilman Anderson.
it's also my understanding that we've had a lot of our senior employees retire. So we have a lot of new folks in DPW, and they're still within that training mode of how to do it. So when there was a mass retirement, more or less, they all went out together. So there was really no one left behind to start training and showing them properly. So we're just trying to adjust, make the changes and, do the training. So just bear with us. It is a process, but we're working on it.
Any other comments on that? Councilwoman McIntosh.
I know our director of DPW mentioned that possibly we had an outdated, I want to make sure I'm clear, outdated protocol, snow removal protocol. I don't know, I thought he said that last time, but can we just make sure that it's updated? Because the snow, I did experience the same thing, Mr. Thurston, even on Garfield Drive, going on to a main street, it was still some of the same things. And I understand we have new employees, but we do live in the Northeast. So I think, we've had a couple of years where we didn't have a lot of snow, but I think going forward, we just want to be prepared going forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson and Councilwoman McIntosh. So yes, Mr. Thurston, we are working on those details. Some of the things that we did do in preparation or tried to do in preparation. I know I've personally been in contact with the governor's office to try to get our salt shipment. As Deputy Manager said, we had 275 tons outstanding of salt, where we ordered salt prior to both storms, and we still have not even received that salt. We've only received 25 tons of that salt to this date, which just came in this week, right? So we were doing all of the snow removal without salt, which really does not help with the ice melting. It does not help with, making sure that it's melting in at a good rate, because we don't have any salt to put down to aid in that. So our crews, our DPW crews, were out multiple times doing other passes, additional passes that they normally wouldn't have to do in order to try and get some of that ice up off the road. But yes, our police department has been ticketing those cars. We've also been removing some of the snow from the sidewalks ourselves. But I do understand your frustration on some of the narrowing of the street. Hopefully our residents will continue to get the point after getting hit in the pockets, a couple times from having their cars remain on the street during those snowstorms, so that they will move them so that we can clear it in a more suitable way. But we are working on mediating that. Well, we should, since we didn't get any of our salt this year, we should be well prepared with salt for next year. And then our crew will be better trained for next season, as they've had to go through this season and just experience that. But yes,
Mayor, if I may, the violations were 140 issued by the police department.
140 violations for cars.
Yes.
Okay. All right, just make sure you hit all of them. If we get more snow, get them all. All right, thank you, Mr. Thurston. But if you have any other questions, feel free to contact our DPW director. If you have any suggestions or things like that, I'm sure we're always open for, suggestions to make the experience better for our residents. Miss Ethel, you were discussing the smoke shop at the old bank on JFK. So I do know some of the actions that this council has taken to prevent smoke shops from establishing within Willingboro is we did an ordinance that puts a minimum distance between the smoke shops to try to limit the number of smoke shops. But Mr. Tunstall, can you speak on that? Thank you.
Council, happy Women's Month, right? Okay. All right, so that particular smoke shop was approved in 2023, prior to us making the changes to our ordinances. Unfortunately, they just recently started making modifications to the facility, and they just opened up. even though it was approved in 2023, it had to, we had to allow them to continue with the process because it already was approved.
Okay, but after they wouldn't have qualified if the changes were already in place.
That is correct. Based on our new ordinances, that smoke shop would not be permitted to be there.
Okay. So we were a little late, but so sorry that we're delayed in that. It is by right development at the time in 2023, so they were allowed to put that there. Since we have made those changes to our ordinances to prevent additional smoke shops from popping up in our prime real estate and commercial locations. And then Mr. Harris, just to call your attention, she did say she called your office twice. So just wanted to make sure that we're getting back to residents as their contact. All right. All right. Council, did I miss anything? Okay. Seeing none. We will go on to council comments. Any council comments?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out, everybody who's watching online. Also, I want to say congratulations to all the officers who were recognized at the award ceremony. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Anyone else? All right. I did want to just also second that congratulations to our police officers. We know Willingboro has one of the finest police departments in the state of New Jersey. And I mean, if you ask me, I may be a little biased, but in the whole country. So, so we know and we expect greatness from our officers. Congratulations to Officer Jackson, Detective Abayo, Sergeant Coop, and Officer Young on their awards, and any other officers that were recognized at that ceremony. We appreciate your hard work, your dedication, and your service to Willingboro Township and its residents. As you know, we had another snow event. We discussed it a little bit, but we're doing our best. If there are any spots that you think are being missed or things like that, please send an email or put in just a note into the Willingboro Connect app so that those places can be flagged, and the DPW department can just highlight those places to be addressed or make sure that they get addressed should there be another snow event in the future. It'll help us tremendously in our operations when we get feedback directly from residents. I did want to say thank you to everyone that came out to our Black History Month program. It was a phenomenal success as we celebrated the 100th year of Black History Month and Black History celebrations. We had some talented musicians or performers and speakers at the event, and it was really just a joy to be there to witness the greatness that centers right here in Willingboro and celebrate Black history and culture. So thank you for everyone that came out, and please make sure that you're present next year as we do this once again. Also, the county committee petitions are due March 23rd. As the clerk's office mentioned, please make sure you submit them before, especially if you're doing it by mail or we just want to make sure that everything's in on time. We don't want any mix-ups with submissions. So they are due by 4 p.m. on March 23rd, and please submit them before if you can. And then lastly, don't forget this weekend, we're springing forward. So although we get to lose an hour of sleep, we get a little bit more daylight. So don't forget to spring forward as we head and anxiously await the warmer weather that is to come. All right, nothing else from me. We do not have any executive session tonight as we approved all of those items during our consent agenda. So Oh, I thought we approved it. But we need to talk more about that. Okay. All right, so correction, we do have a short executive session and it should only take us less than 30 minutes.
Resolution 2670, resolution authorizing. A closed executive, oh, but, I'm sorry. I apologize. Resolution authorizing a closed executive session in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act for contract negotiations and attorney-client privileges.
All right, can I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Roll call.
Yes. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh, Mayor Whitfield.
Yes. All right, we'll be back in less than 30 minutes, just a quick discussion. Vote anticipated. Madam Deputy Clerk?
Yes. The time is now 9:21. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilman Anderson. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we are now out of executive session. And I would like to call for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Good evening, Willingboro. Have a great night.
The time
And
is-
happy Women's History Month, sorry.
The time is now 9:22 and the council meeting is officially adjourned.